Joseph de Gaulier and Drew Daybell are here doing the Zone Fighter podcast on the Godzilla podcast. Why are we here?
Well, Drew, we hit a Patreon goal a while ago.
That is true.
I, of course, thought this show was not going to be as successful as it is. So,
well, it wasn't successful.
I put Patreon goals really, really low compared to the other shows that I run.
Well, honestly, thank you, Chris Japper. He's devoting a bulk of the money we get is from him. But
really, anybody who gives to Patreon is supporting this. So
our hero, my hero.
They're all our heroes, Drew.
Are they as heroic as Zone Fighter?
I don't know, and we're gonna find out. So this is gonna be kind of a messy commentary. We do not have English subtitles.
Nope.
We have.
We can look up synopsis for the first six.
Six episodes.
All right. As we've done in the past, Joe, let's explain a title here. Zone Fighter, outside of Japan, has not made a huge impact outside of Japan due to its unsuccessful first season. I mean, it just wasn't very popular. It didn't get renewed. Okay. The name in Japanese translates directly to Meteor Human Zone.
Okay.
And it's a tokusatsu science fiction superhero television series. We're getting into a henshin hero. Yep, that's the subgenre in tokusatsu.
All right, so I'm just going to start this thing, and we just got to fill some time. I don't know how many episodes we're going to do. We're at least going to do 5.
We have plenty to commentate on. Plenty.
Sure.
Nine-ish hours of this.
9-ish hours.
So enjoy the beginning of what's going to be part 1 of the Zone Fighter commentaries.
Let's do it. I'm going to press play on... and we'll talk about this freaking DVD as soon as I press play.
Let's just say Sumo Gorilla.
Yeah.
We've acquired it through Sumo Gorilla.
I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1 on episode 1. Go. Just kidding. That was a really bad 3, 2, 1. But the episode has started.
Joe was wondering immediately, because sometimes these Sumo Gorilla DVDs we purchase come with a trailer or two prior to or immediately following the DVD we purchase. He burns the original trailers onto it. But here is a promotion for the series right before the promotion, kind of giving us the highlights of the series.
So something that I was sad about when we decided that we were going to do this is that, first off, Godzilla has showed up in like 3 television shows. That was one thing. So we have a future Patreon goal for other Godzilla television shows.
Godzilla Island, I believe, is after this.
After this, yeah. And the perfect time to do this commentary, of course, is while we're ending the Showa era, and we should have a Godzilla versus...
Honestly, we just stated in Colossal, we haven't recorded Terror of Mechagodzilla yet. We said we had finished all Godzilla Showa era stuff. Nope. Yeah. This is part of the canon. This is Toho in supplementary.
I wouldn't call anything in the Showa era any canon of any kind.
Some of his moves, perhaps not. Okay.
Not when you got the dude playing Dr. Serizawa in like 20 different roles.
And we're going to conclude his that character in the universe of the Toho Godzilla films, his story arc in Terror of Mechagodzilla. Okay.
Godzilla roar used for something that is not a Godzilla, but rather a robot, as far as I could tell here in the opening. This is the opener.
I don't believe it's done the title, like... Man, I don't watch much TV. What's it called? It's not just a theme song, but like the opening for the series. So you were going to see it 100 times. Here we are. It begins. The Zone Fighter theme song.
It's very jazzy.
So Zone Fighter has a car. It has a name, and we'll get to that. Zone Fighter, I believe, has a jet. And I originally thought of this, there's the jet, I guess, wonderfully copied onto, man, this is psychedelic, Joe. What we're seeing is like a gold record spinning.
It looks like a record spinning or like a symbol.
Like superimposed onto the screen where it's just...
But it must be some sort of interdimensional...
Portal?
It's gotta be. I mean, so he escapes a planet, I guess?
The family, I know their first names, but it's Saka something is the family's name. They escape from Peaceland. Yeah, a whole planet called Peaceland. They are invaded by the Garogas, the Garogan Empire. What it looks like, after reading it was a little bit confusing, but visually it looks like a planet itself.
that attacks Peaceland. They destroy Peaceland, and this family, they are the Sakamori/Zone family, because they have secret superhero identities, Joe. But the Sakamori family flee from Peaceland to Earth, making it their new home. And I'm already hearing some themes, like musical cues that sound similar to the Showa era. It sounds like whenever some sort of technology is being used and you hear like a...
Yeah, it sounds like that electronic...
Oh, yeah, the Garogas. Oh, my goodness, dude. Okay, they've been compared to in appearance...
Their lips do not... they do not move. It's freaky.
It's a TV show. Special effects budget.
Yeah, these bug faces and underwear over their tights. So that's nice.
That's... Well, it's a classic superhero, Superman look. So the appearance of the Garogas, often compared to the Martians from the alien Invaders from Mars, the movie.
Yeah, totally. They look exactly like that. Because there may be one person on the entire planet who's actually watching the show with us.
Yeah.
So I guess we can kind of explain like what's going on the screen right now. We got the family. They're arguing over something. I don't know.
I love how so often in science fiction, aliens escape from planets far distant from Earth, come to Earth, and as far as I know, these are not disguises that the Sakamori family is using. Came from Peaceland. They're aliens, but they look like humans. How convenient is that for storytelling?
You know what? That is in every science fiction movie.
I know, but it's just nuts when you break it down.
Or television show, I'm sure.
Of humans on far distant planets.
So you got to figure out, like, oh, wow, so we're the Scientologists, right? Were we placed here?
If anything's going to convince me that there's a God, it's that we have scattered humans throughout the universe, because that's true. More than a coincidence.
That's true, yeah.
Well, if anything...
That's some Mormon theology you're getting into there, Drew.
Yeah. If we're not the perfect organisms, hey, we have opposable thumbs.
Actually, that's like pseudo-theology, right? That's just what the people say. Like, there's no church doctrine on that. I believe so.
We're watching a Japanese Henshin Hero TV series, and we're getting into religious themes here.
Oh,
but
dare we?
Hey, we have opposable thumbs, and so if they're evolved enough on other planets to have at least opposable thumbs, they've gotten somewhere.
That is one modern house.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as with American television in the 70s and on to today, just throughout the history of television, what they're often going to use in a product placement through movies, they're going to show either what is top of the line or slightly futuristic in like everything, architecture, the clothing.
Yeah, they got to be cool, right? Because it's television.
Yeah.
So television's all about...
you got to think about
what's new, what's now, what's cool.
Either what is trending or what they want to make trend, essentially. Biggest one that...
It's like Entourage.
I've thought of Friends.
Oh, you thought of Friends? That's good. That's a good
Friends
example.
is a huge example of... That was when I was a little kid. My mom was all into Friends, and I remember
can't stand that show.
So many people had.
In the Seinfeld versus Friends war, Seinfeld wins.
Oh, hands down.
Okay, good. I was about to punch you in the face across from the couch.
It seems like
don't you dare say Friends is better than Seinfeld.
To describe Joe and mine's situation, we have devolved back in time.
Back to the recliner.
These are our roots, Joe. We started out on a couch and we're back on a couch. Wow. Two-piece bikini.
Yeah.
In the 70s. I mean, you know, I don't know the evolution of female swimwear, but...
the two pieces is there in the 70s. It's fine.
It just seems... It's like a family drama so far. I don't know that they've even revealed their origins of coming from Peaceland, really. We certainly got that in the theme. We got that in the promo bit prior to the episode opening. But right now, the Sakamori family is just going about everyday fun.
Well,
okay, this girl's name, Joe. There are 3 Zone heroes. Zone Fighter is his actual name. His name is Hikaru. Here's how we're going to remember this. Hikaru, hit. So Hikaru.
Okay.
Then
all right.
Her. So that's him, because there are 3 siblings in this family.
It's the handsome older one.
Hikaru is the older brother.
Okay.
He is Zone Fighter, our title character, title of the TV series, and
That's why he's had no lines up to this point.
that's true. But in his free time, he is a test car driver, so that's his job.
Those are some pants.
We are in bell-bottom era.
Woo!
We're going to definitely get into fashion when we're talking about this series. Oh, and he's got driving gloves.
Look at those gloves.
Yeah, because, well, that's his job. He's a test driver for some car company. Honestly, I wonder if there was any sort of a promotional tie-in with a car company. I doubt it, but he probably is showing off, like, either real modern cars or, like, made-up futuristic cars. Oh, man.
There's a dude who, so
Obviously
Zone
a
Fighter was
disguised
running down to the
Garoga.
pit, and he's like looking at something. Who knows? I think like probably where the
It
ship
looked like
landed.
a meteor crashed, yeah. Or a ship.
We saw like a little alien ship go somewhere and make an explosion at the very beginning of the episode, and then he's hit in the back, and he like passes out, and some dude like grabs his butt. And then
There's his shoulder, Joe. The zoom in
fingers.
on what looked like a average human, but man, I believe that we're just gonna get numb to the reveal of aliens throughout this. It's gonna be, is this just a human? Just a human, and then some weird characteristic shows up, and they're an alien. That man looked completely normal. He looked kind of like a chauffeur, and then after knocking out Hikaru, I believe his name.
You
is.
just gave me all that crap about remembering this guy. Yeah, it's
Well, it's because it hit. I was thinking it was Hikaru or Hikaru.
Yeah.
But after knocking him out, it zoomed in on his hand, and you're right, webbed. Like he had red webbing between his fingers. Ooh. So, horrible disguise, horrible human disguise if he left the webbing there.
Now
the
got some
webbing's gone.
incredible chops as well, by the way.
He looks like
this creature from the Black Lagoon.
What's his name? I'm thinking Short Round, but that's the name of the ally character in Indiana Jones.
Oh my God, you're racist, Drew.
What's his name? Joe, what's the
This is
name?
a grown man.
Goldeneye, no. Joe.
Oh yeah, the top hat dude.
Top hat
I
dude.
can't honestly, I can't remember his name off
That's
the top
who
of
it
my head.
reminds me of.
He does. Yeah, he's kind of chubby. And he's got the top hat. So yeah,
But not Short Round.
I can see it.
The one, if you played GoldenEye on the N64.
or if you just watched the GoldenEye movie, he's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like throws the hat
Throws
and it
the hat,
explodes.
it cuts things. Well, it may explode, but usually it's like
it
razor
just
sharp.
kinda, like cut things. Yeah. Wow,
That's
I only watched that movie like 2 months ago and I already forgot it.
He has a really iconic name, and you are not... Okay, what we're being introduced to, Joe, we would be so far gone. We wouldn't realize what's going on at all if I hadn't done a little bit of research into this. Apparently, the Sakamori family develops toys, so that's probably what contributes to their apparent wealth, that they have this modern home, really nice.
Yeah, with secret passageways
Oh my
through
goodness.
books.
They
Bookshelves.
develop toys, and so we're going to often see, and that's their front or the business that they're a successful toy manufacturing brand.
Wow.
Throughout the series, it's going to show gadgets, little toys that help out the
gadgets
zone,
and gizmos.
the zone heroes, I'll call them.
They've got who's its and what's its galore.
Is that a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference?
No, it's Little Mermaid.
Good. Okay. I watched, and
I want to.
I'm just gonna let you finish.
Want to see them dancing, walking around on those. What's the word? Feet. Come on, Drew.
The Garogas are impressive. Apparently, there are different. The entirety of this series is going to focus on the combat on Earth. The Garogas are trying to take over the... Okay, they just blew up Peaceland. Why don't they just blow up Earth? It's Garogas versus the Zone family, the Sakamori family. Garogas are floating around in space, in orbit around the Earth, sending down various monsters, Taro beasts. We're going to see this happen again and again. They drop off ours. There's like a Destro robot that's going to show up later, and all of these fighting monsters, giant fighting monsters that they're gonna send to Earth one at a time, of course. This is the most useful plan best way to take over the Earth is not to send down a whole armada.
Isn't that what they do in Power Rangers? Am I crazy?
If you've watched Power Rangers, then the situation I've just described, the premise to this whole TV series, is extremely familiar.
So I watched Power Rangers as a kid very lightly, I would say.
Okay, I was absolutely obsessed with it as a child.
My sisters were obsessed with it, so whatever
Really?
whatever little overlap we had, because my sisters are way older than I am.
Do you think that
Whatever
contributed
little
to your
overlap we
not
had.
liking it as much because your sisters liked it?
I mean, that could have been possible. I don't think I watched it that much. So I remember watching it like when I was a little kid, just because it was on television.
Yeah.
And then I used to have these Polynesian friends, like this big Polynesian family down the street, and I would hang out with them. And they weren't allowed to watch PG-13 movies.
Dude, that was the way, not PG-13 movies essentially, but of my group of close friends, I was the only one whose parents allowed them to watch Power Rangers. There was a handful of really awkward times when I went to their homes and I had to watch the new episode of Power Rangers, but I was like being watched by my friends' parents and hanging out with friends. The parents of my friends would allow me to watch Power Rangers and would not allow their children in the room.
What I was going to say
It was weird.
is that they had the Power Rangers movie from the early 90s or late 80s, not sure when it came out.
90s for sure.
90s, okay. They had it in a secret shelf of like PG-13 movies that they weren't allowed, and they broke into it one day, and we all watched it. And I can't remember that movie to save my life. I remember the situation so much more than I remember the actual Power Rangers.
Joe, we're seeing our first appearance of Zone Fighter, Zone Angel, and Zone Junior.
Wow.
What's your first impressions?
They're
This is my first time seeing them as well. although
Power
I've seen
Rangers
them in
came out
stills.
after this, right?
Around, yes, Super
Okay,
Sentai.
we can look this up later.
Super Sentai did come after.
Okay.
Yeah, fighting!
They're pretty much the same thing, but they got stupid helmets.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Like, their helmets are really...
It's kind of a fusion of, bless you.
Sneezing.
It's a fusion of... Their helmets look like beetle-like, because they kind of have stag beetle horns in the middle of them. Somewhat samurai-like ninja, because they have like mouth covers. Unlike Super Sentai, where they have full-on helmets and they see through visors, their eyes are shown. So I guess in that sense, you couldn't as well... I guess that means the actors would have to... I'm just trying to think here, because it's often done that in Super Sentai, because they have full-on helmets, you can have stuntmen or whoever in those suits doing whatever. But as long as... It's got to make it a little bit more difficult to shoot the action scenes, I would think. Only in close-ups, I guess.
This scene is impossible to watch.
Joe, you're describing the whole Hikari family was captured and taken hostage by the female. One moment, you describe it, Joe.
So I'm not sure what happened in the story, but the bad aliens, they're coming in and fighting the family, and it's just in a super dark building with all these very fast cuts, and so the fighting isn't it just isn't good movie fighting. It's just it's just chaos. It's dark shadows with some people moving around, and then there's a lot of like hits, and then this song playing, and you can't tell a darn thing what's going on. But what I just saw now, I'm not sure what just happened, but like a big monster showed up, and I think someone got big and fought it.
Zone Fighter.
Fighter.
He is one of 3 in the Zone family. When he yells, "Zone double time," he...
In English?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When he
didn't hear
grows to ginormous proportions. This is Red Spark is the monster's name.
The monster he's fighting? Is it because he has sparks? He's holding some fireworks, as far as I can tell.
They're reaching low in the barrel for naming these monsters
already. Episode 1, and they can't figure out anything cool.
The English title for this first episode is Destroy the Terror Beast. We're obviously introduced to Zone Fighter, Zone Angel, Zone Junior. Our very first Terror Beast is Red Spark. It's so hard to describe the appearances of these monsters, so I'm glad they have little synopsis here. Red Spark is an unusual chimeric creature which has characteristics from several different animals. He has a red, pig-like head with multicolored wings. Like Ghidorah originally, instead of ears, and a long yellow horn extending from his forehead. He has green arms with red hands. Very multicolored beast. The hands have long, gangly fingers.
Freaky eyes.
Oh, yeah. Sharp thumbs facing backwards. Here's the interesting part about Red Spark. His torso is bright red with bulbous spears and yellow spikes covering it. Where his navel would be, a large cannon is present. So he's got a gun from his belly button. Red Spark's legs are long and have flaps of skin just above him. But his abilities are that he has a cannon mounted on his belly button, which proves very effective against Zone Fighter. Honestly, you have to have the tension, so episode to episode, these monsters are going to have...
Oh! Whoa! That monster just blew up.
That was a great monster explosion.
That was a good explosion.
It full-on showed the monster, what I'm assuming is a miniature of the... Because unless they blew up the suit, they may be blowing up the suit. But we full-on saw the suit, and pieces of it exploding everywhere in a fireball from the inside.
There must have been an invisible cut there. I don't think they would like ruin a suit.
I doubt it as well. They did it very well, though, that cut. If they did, they likely did that. Because that's what they always do in Power Rangers. The monster falls back after the heroes kind of are in the foreground. They've this is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They cut them with the sword. You see the monster in the background. They slowly fall back, and then there's an obvious cut and an explosion. And they cut so that their suit isn't there at all. But that was fairly impressive. We get 2 monsters in the first episode. How awesome is that? They're doubling down episode 1, not just giving us 1 Terror Beast, rather 2. And this one is Jakiro. He is
a freak,
magnetic terror beast. He's a mecha.
Okay.
Jakiro resembles a robotic reptile. It has a hunchback, which results in its head being over its chest. So the head's kind of right in the middle of its chest. His head is reptilian in appearance, has 2 red metal horns on its side. The top of his body has 2 pylons rising out of it. His right hand can open a pair of claws, but also function as a cannon. His left hand has 4 sharp spikes instead of fingers. Really reminded me of Mechagodzilla. Jakiro also has what looks like a giant red screw protruding from the top of his body. Just underneath this screw is a large yellow lamp. Jakiro's body is mostly metallic silver, but his kneecaps and elbow plate are red. He's going to make a reappearance later as Super Jakiro because, Joe, they got to show off how powerful Zone Fighter is in this first episode. The suits, yes. Yeah. They're just going to attach some minor aesthetic differences, and now he's Super Jakiro. So that
plane, they weren't like, hey, there's a giant monster. You should probably not fly where we told you to fly. Whatever.
But Jakiro is dispatched quickly by Zone Fighter. Yeah, that was nuts.
What? Okay, so a plane
physics
was flying towards the scary monster. Whatever, and then whatever
Jakiro
goes for it, but then Zone Fighter saves the plane. He grabs the plane and then
flips it around midair.
He flips it around and then just lightly pushes it forward so that the plane will continue to fly. What is that? I don't think that would work, Drew. I think there has to already be some sort of thrust. I guess he was giving it the thrust, but whatever. Do you like giving it the thrust, Drew?
Ooh, the suspension of disbelief is strong regarding this series.
We got a giant mecha thing.
We have failed to mention, you may have in describing the fight scene, I was taking a phone call from my grandma.
It's dark and hard to see.
Everything so far has been, I don't think it's only the transfer, but them choosing the lighting in this series. It's super dark.
Well, it's hiding.
Not well lit.
It's hiding the Jeep effects, frankly.
That's true. Well, there you go. They just attack with lightning. Okay, to explain the specifics of all this fighting, Joe, you know how it keeps cutting to Zone Fighter's belt? See how it's red now?
Yeah.
It's like his belt buckle almost. He's not wearing a belt, but it's part of his suit. When it's flashing red, Zone Fighter only has a certain amount of time where he can be giant sized, and so it starts out green, and they just repowered him to finish off Jakiro. His belt starts out green, goes to yellow, and that means, oh no, it's getting close to where he has to turn back into his human form, the small Zone Fighter form. Then it goes red, and he, of course, has to get small. But the Zone family, Zone Angel, and Zone Junior, I'm getting excited just talking about this, Joe, because I love stuff like this. They get in whatever their vehicle is, I'll figure it out in a minute here, the Zone helicopter, we'll call it, and they shoot an extra battery down to Zone Fighter, superpowering him yet again. He's using his Uzi punch to take out Jakiro.
Take the Uzi. What?
So, there's a lot of posturing, and I mean it like literally poses in tokusatsu television. Whether it be the Henshin Heroes genre, which includes Kamen Rider, Ultraman, I mean Jet Jaguar in the film we saw, Godzilla vs. Megalon, was trying to ride that hype. That's Toho's ultimate deal here. They always have these poses that they do in order to activate like ultimate attacks and just to show off. It's a combination of science fiction, fantasy, and karate, martial arts.
Yeah, some sort of martial arts.
Very quickly at the end of the fight, goes back to the family. What were you saying, Joe?
No, just a hard, day's work.
Just another day's work for the Zone family.
That's right.
Honestly, it's kind of a like, I didn't expect it to be this like heartfelt, family oriented. I don't know. I only know about Hikaru, Hotaru, and I don't remember the boy's name. Hotaru is Zone
Hotaru is the
Angel.
girl?
Yep.
Okay.
Akira. That was going to be the easy one to remember. That's Zone Junior.
All right. Is this the end?
That's the end of episode 1. And then we get the slight reveal for the next episode. We get to see the like spoilers for the
next time
episode.
On.
Exactly.
Yada. Okay.
The end bumper.
All right. To help us through these tough times.
Wait, Joe, you can't do that. What if someone's watching along with us?
They're okay. They're okay. So we're going to start episode 2.
So we just ended. Actually, we should definitely do that only because why? We're about to view it.
Yep.
Those end bumpers for television shows, and it's revealing the exact same thing in the beginning. So let's just.
Oh my God!
Wait, Joe, go back. Like pause it. Go back. Like
hold on. I'm sorry, Drew.
We're figuring this out.
Okay.
And we're about to start episode 2 in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
I guess the exact same end bumper is our beginning to the episode 2. Not quite the theme song yet, but prior to the theme song.
So it's a this time on instead of a last time on, or
and these would have been much more useful if we weren't binging the entire series.
That's true.
If you're watching it week to week, I don't know if it was a weekly release, but the series itself lasted from April 2nd, 1973 to September 24th, 1973, released over the course of about 6 months. Yep, and then it was done. Low ratings.
Wow. I mean, this is AG Tsuburaya's production company, right?
No idea, honestly.
You don't know?
This might be through.
We can find out later.
I know it's definitely directly relinked to Relinked? Definitely directly...
It relinked to Toho somehow. I don't know.
Related and linked. 2 words.
Well, it has to if it has Godzilla in it.
But exactly. It's Toho's baby, this series, in any case. I don't know how much AG Tsuburaya's production company, Tsuburaya Productions, had to do with Toho when it started in about mid-60s. I believe it was exactly 65. We're going to hear Godzilla's roar at the beginning of every episode.
Used in the wrong spot.
It's kind of like they're alluding to the fact that Godzilla's going to make an appearance in only about 5 or 6 episodes in the series. I don't think we get him until about episode 4, and then he's in like the second to last episode.
Wow.
But just to get into that, because we eventually will, Godzilla befriends the Zone family. He will kind of spar with Zone Fighter when Zone Fighter's in his giant form. And yeah, they're going to build him a like Godzilla's secret lair next to their home that he only appears from in one episode apparently, but he's friendly enough with them that they've built him kind of like a base of operations near their home. That's like, as a kid, just thinking about that, that's awesome.
You know what is more awesome? The fact that I'm looking at the bottom of the screen and the theme song is playing and they have words at the bottom for you to sing along with.
You know,
and it's in kana, so you don't need to know like
hardcore Japanese.
Hardcore Japanese to sing along. Look at that.
Have you watched much anime?
UK something.
Have you watched much anime?
True, no, I have not.
A lot of series seem to do that, and also I like
sing
anime.
Along, guys.
Yeah,
sing along.
Get it stuck in your head. Buy our merchandise and watch our show.
So a lot of anime has that, really?
Yeah, because I see it quite often.
Oh wait, so how much anime have you watched, Drew?
Mostly just the popular series here over in America. I've seen the whole series. Like, I might not be able to list them all off, but like Sword Art Online, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I was obsessed with Yu Yu Hakusho growing up. Of course, watched Attack on Titan more recently. Watched all of Samurai Champloo. That's a great one. If you, Joe, just cinematically and direction-wise, because it's not like a one linear story, you should really watch Samurai Champloo. It's not very long either, but really... Oh, I thought our DVD just paused. Samurai Champloo takes place... takes inspiration from real folklore, Japanese folklore, but they infuse it with like modern sensibilities where the two main heroes, one of them's kind of like this outcast and the other one's kind of like a hip-hop hero, but they are samurai. They're full-on samurai, so the fights are cool, dude.
Okay.
I know it sounds so out there, but it works so well.
All right.
It's an amazing blend.
And you enjoy anime or just those shows?
There have been some animes that I've watched an episode or two of and had to drop. It just has to be in the right mood.
I don't know. I've definitely done this on my other shows. I don't know how much I've said that anime is BS.
Japanese animation. This will be like your fourth or fifth time you've ranted on this,
dude. Anime is not a thing. Like, there is Japanese animation, and so we can all say that, but there's genre movies within it, and so what are we saying when we say anime? Because we're not even saying
exactly what you just stated.
We're not even
Japanese
saying
animation. We just shorten it to anime.
I can't.
And then you tell the person the genre.
Yeah.
So it's an anime film, and then you tell them the genre.
I still don't. I don't love it. I don't love it because it ostracizes those who like are weirded out by Japanese anime.
It's definitely
animation.
No, I'm saying there's definitely like a degree of...
So they're like, oh, you're watching that? Ew. So it's like, no, it's good, dude. Like, this movie, Akira, it's amazing.
There's an entry level.
It's an amazing sci-fi movie.
I'd say start people off
and then there's like a wall there for other people who are like, oh, that's for little kids or whatever. And you're like, yeah, Akira is not for little kids. Definitely.
No.
So that's a problem I have with it, is that it...
outside of Japan, it's hard for people to take that more seriously. It's stuff like Akira, but it is a serious film and like serious themes. What am I thinking?
So I'd rather not differentiate it. But I haven't actually seen that many television shows, like anime television shows.
Start people off with Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh yeah, because those are great movies.
They're great all around for kids, but have like themes for adults. But Hayao Miyazaki films, such as probably the most popular one we've gotten here in America, was Spirited Away.
Princess Mononoke.
My Neighbor Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro is great.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service. Just again and again, that is like how to get into it. And then beyond that, I would say, because there are some good series on Netflix now, not too many if you have Amazon Prime. Just if the concept looks interesting and like, because there's so many different ones. Pirates, you got your One Piece, One Punch Man, I just finished on Netflix. Hilarious.
One Punch Man?
Yeah, the whole... He kills everything with one punch. And so where is your problem in that? It's like satirizing every anime ever, and he's just so like dissatisfied with everything.
Okay.
I really don't like those red fins between their fingers, man.
All right, so I watched Pokemon as a kid.
Okay, that's like anime light.
Yu-Gi-Oh was like
Anime
the last
light with
cartoon
an
I watched
LITE.
before I stopped watching cartoons.
Yu-Gi-Oh
So I was in like
awesome
fourth
in its
grade.
first story arc. I didn't finish. Well,
Oh, that's all I got through.
did you ever get to like the one where they're in the city and they have the dual discs with their arms?
No, that's when I stopped watching it.
So when that started?
Yeah, when that
Okay.
started. I can tell you like when I stopped watching cartoons. It was just one day I stopped watching cartoons. And it was
And
honestly pretty early because I have some friends who like kept going through like middle school and we're still like watching SpongeBob and crap, and I'm like, I don't know when I got too snobby for it.
well, I'm currently barreling through
I know you
the
still,
latest
yeah.
season of Pokemon
Yeah.
and Power Rangers Super Dino Charge, and I have a couple series that I'm completing right now. No, you have to be in the mood for it still. I mean, at the same time, I just watched American Beauty, so you
Okay,
can
all
kind of
right.
get like
So you get some
best
of the
both
highbrow in there.
worlds. It's whatever you're in the mood
Okay.
for, honestly.
I did watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I dig.
That one's definitely more of a serious.
It is, and it's more of an adult show.
That's the thing, though. Even though it is, would you get that from just looking at it? Because Neon Genesis, perhaps, but what I'm saying is the entry level for a lot of anime is that it doesn't appear to be like highbrow entertainment in that it's got deep themes and you're able to like digest some stuff from it, really learn. I don't know, it's deep and it's wonderfully shot and blah 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 blah, but what it looks like on the outside packaging when you're just looking at it is that it's just a cartoon.
Yeah, like a sci-fi cartoon thing.
Yeah,
I watched it because I think I had some friends into anime, and
Yeah.
that was the anime on the shelf in my library that seemed to be like
well, that's a good
popular. And I didn't realize how rare those DVDs would get later on. And
one. Very, especially your edition of it. That's
yeah, and then
original Neon Genesis.
I bought
Evangelion.
one when FYE was going out of business up in Orem.
Okay,
That big one.
yeah, the one
That used to be Media Play. Yeah. And
let's shed a tear, a moment of silence
yeah.
for physical electronic media
I
stores.
know, it was $30.
They were. There's a few around, not many. The most wonderful thing to just spend an hour in. Just walk around, even if you didn't have money, read the back of DVDs, video games. Honestly, a lot of them, Media Play had books in it as well.
Yeah, I miss Blockbuster too.
Joe, if it's a big enough recommend, Hollywood Video was
Yeah.
the one in.
Yeah, you went to Hollywood Video, I remember.
The biggest recommendation I can give for getting into anime would be that of any media, like video media, so TV, movies, YouTube videos, anime has affected me more and moved me more deeply than anything else. There are
Really?
some episodes of and whole story arcs in certain animes that just blew me away. Like my hair's standing on end remembering them, and in watching them, I remember I was watching. I haven't finished the last season of Sword Art Online. I was like barely paying attention to it, and I looked up, and there was this whole scene where somebody's sniping somebody. The combination of the visuals, the music, the acting, if you can call it that. So again, the animation. I was barely even paying attention, and it was like so electrifying to watch. So anime has some sort of power to do that. I think that's why you can get so many hardcore otakus. If we're gonna, you know what an otaku is?
Yeah, I took Japanese in college, and that's where they all reside.
It appears to have some sort of mesmerizing effect, just taking over people's lives. To get into the plot of episode 2 of Zone Fighter, it appears as if
I'm interested in what you're saying, Drew. We'll continue our conversation later. What is this? What is going on here?
I think the recurring themes we're going to get are that the Garogas have a plan to send down undercover Garoga aliens. They're look like humans, but the dead giveaway is that they have these red webbed fingers.
Yeah, they couldn't quite get the costume right.
Yeah, they couldn't quite become human-like.
Oh, do they not have... Oh, come on.
They come down and
Everything else looks good. It's just
and
webbed
undercover
fingers.
try to sabotage the Hikari, the Sakamori family.
Sakamori family.
That's the Zone Fighter's name.
Hikari is the dude, yeah.
We're going to get this. This is only episode 2. But they come down to try to sabotage them as people.
and then it always ends up that their planet's foiled, and in a fit of rage, they send down a monster.
This is going to be every episode?
Likely.
Oh, man. All right, so we did just see a car blow up, so that's why we stopped. We were like, whoa, something happened.
We didn't much cover the synopsis of episode 1, so I'll read a little bit of synopsis from episode 2. Zone Fighter, the series. I gotta go back a little bit.
Okay.
But the episode title for episode 2 is Attack, DESTRO-KING. Again, they keep, like, barely shortening words. The monsters are Tero beasts, not terror beasts. They drop off the R. And
because there's no R in Japanese.
Well, but they're transliterating it to English, and it's...
Oh, and they just kept it on the wiki,
episode 2,
all right.
everything I'm seeing... Because I'm using a combination of Wikipedia, Wikizilla, and there's an official fan Zone Fighter Wikia. This is Wikizilla. Episode 2 is Attack, Destro-King. So not Destroy King, but Destro-King. Oh, there is no plot synopsis.
Oh.
TBA. You can click into it, but this is gonna be rough.
Okay.
If we didn't mention, there are no subtitles.
Nope, no subtitles. Oh, yeah. So we probably said this on previous Godzilla podcast episodes, but let me reiterate. So we had this goal of watching this thing, knowing that it had no subtitles, but since it had Godzilla in it, we got to watch it.
Got to get through it.
And so
this is canon.
We put it as a Patreon goal. It's like, all right, fine, we will dig through this series just for you, just so that you can or for us really, so that we can see every piece of Godzilla visual or a film or television media.
Officially released by Toho, yeah.
That's right. And so we did this, and we knew right off the bat, like, there is no English version of this show anywhere.
It's crazy because when you look at a series like Ultraman, which I've gotten so close to purchasing several times, G-Man highly recommended it. It's not like something you should binge on as is this, but $8 for the entire first run of Ultraman. I don't know how many episodes it is, probably somewhere between 10 to 26 like this series. $8, English subtitles, region 1, easy to come by, so as is obvious because it's only $8. But Zone Fighter, it's not gotten a wide release, and I'll mention it several times as we're watching the series, but I've watched the first couple of episodes of the 70s very first season of Super Sentai, Power Rangers as we know it here in America. Not what they adapted Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from yet. It was like somewhere around the 15th season of Super Sentai that they adapted into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay.
But the fans have went out and subbed those episodes themselves. So fan dedication.
That must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. There's been no official release, but fans have not yet given Zone Fighter the love to subtitle
gives
them.
A shoot about this show.
And also, I don't think anyone's going to ever care to clean up the series, because we have what I hold in my hand is the Sumo Gorilla copy we purchased, and I just have to say we
pirated.
Definitely pirated. But the reason I felt we had to purchase it from them is because we knew at least it was going to work in Region 1 DVD players.
That's true.
Any other version we were going to buy that is an official release might not have been Region 1. And the cover that to this DVD, obviously a photocopied cover, says...
How dare you?
I'm reading the back of it. The Garoga are invading. The Sakamori family's 3 children, Akira, Zone Jr., Hotaru, Zone Angel, and Hikaru, Zone Fighter, use the Zone Fight power to defend Earth. Occasionally, when help is needed, the king of monsters himself, Godzilla, will appear. Includes all 26 episodes from this terrific Tokusatsu Toho original. So that's in English officially. Zone Fighter, a pretty cool looking logo on the front, official.
It is, yeah. I saw that.
Toho official release.
Look at this.
Says it was released in Canada. I've got a PG rating, Region 1. Still no subtitles. So they very cheaply just copied it over and released it here. They acquired the rights to it, but nobody bothered to give it a proper subtitling.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
And the quality of the transfer...
All right, so anime. You like anime.
Yeah.
And you felt like there's been deeper stories. How much American television do you watch?
Like live action?
Anything.
Again, because just my personal likes and dislikes, sensibilities, my television interests are going to go along the lines of Power Rangers, my friend.
Oh, okay, all right. I would argue.
deep.
So I think there is something to be said about television, and
American
I think this
television
could
or-
be any television that movies can't quite give you.
Yes, definitely.
And it is like deep character development. And it's because there's just so much screen time and you get to live with these characters for so long that they can explore certain emotional arcs or plots that you cannot explore
Can
as
barely
fully
touch on in a movie.
in a movie, because a good movie is usually just like one really solid story. For
Yes.
movies, story is king, and for television, character is king. Same with movies, they're more director oriented. With television, it's a lot more writer oriented.
Yeah,
So-
there's a lot more director's flair.
so directors, you can't tell the difference between who directed a television episode most of the time.
No.
And with movies, you can tell when like a different director made the sequel to a movie. You can tell like something's different here, and it's because it's going through a different filter. So it's like totally different that way. I am more of a movie guy, but I have seen a few shows. Like I'm a big fan of Buffy.
I tried to get into
Vampire
Buffy.
Slayer. You have to live through a season and a half before it gets good.
Oh man,
That's the
I
problem
can't-
with that
I can't
show.
stomach a season and a half.
That's the problem with that show. But I did it. I did it for my sister. My sister made me watch it, and like, it gets amazing. I watched the 7 out of 8 seasons of 24 because the 8th season was really bad.
Yeah.
And what I would argue, Drew, is that you're just saying the difference between television and movies when you're saying that. So it may be anime or not, but
Yeah.
you're doing television when you do television. Like, there are some things, like if you've lived with these characters for so long, that it'll explore something or it will have a deep impact that maybe a movie wouldn't be able to provide if it weren't like a 6-hour movie.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're coming from, but I would argue maybe it's just television. Maybe you should explore some television more. I would suggest Game of Thrones if you haven't watched.
If there was an easier way to get a hold of it, probably. I actually own all the books. I've tried to start reading those, but the reading level required, man. The attention span, it's deep. Have you tried reading much? Any Game of Thrones?
I thought that's where the question was.
Have you tried reading much? Pause.
Yeah, I try to read, a few books a year. You know.
I'm currently reading The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and that's about where I'm at when it comes to like the reading level, where my interest is peaked enough to match my level of being able to read, and I can follow along and love it. Man, is Game of Thrones meaty. He describes everything in the most, like, the smallest minutia of detail in every single aspect of character, the, like, surroundings, what they're thinking, what they're doing, as far as I've read, and I'm just, like, blown away by the man's ability to, like, write things out. So it's great, but at the same time, to get through something that would take a couple of shots in, like, say, if it was a movie or, well, it is a TV series, it probably takes a good page and a half in this small font on, like, a... anyway.
Tiny little paperback.
So...
okay, so what we're seeing now...
level.
He's doing the Monster of the Week. He's, well, not doing the Monster of the Week. He's
destroying the Monster of the Week.
Fighting the Monster of the Week. And the other two it looks like they're going to help him or something.
Joe, what are their names? Zone Angel.
Zone Angel.
Zone
and
Junior.
Zone Junior, okay. So this monster has 2 heads.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
a
robot thingy.
I can get to the monster.
And it shoots lasers. This monster is the cheapest looking monster I've seen.
He's absolutely using Gigan's call, I believe. It'll maybe show in the...
Oh, they just lasered off one of his heads. Look at that.
It's either Gigan or King Ghidorah's cry. DESTRO-KING That's the name of this monster, Destro-King. Wow. Cool monster. Destro-King resembles a cybernetic two-headed dragon. His body extends to a great height. Kind of looks like an accordion.
Yeah.
With his necks splitting just before the heads. On his necks, he has bright blue spikes. Both heads have 3 spikes on their scalps, along with bright pink eyes and long horizontal horns. They also have mandibles similar to Gigan. Destro-King has a midnight blue body with several silver spikes. Say that 10 times fast. Several silver spikes. Several silver spikes.
Not going to happen.
And ridges on his chest, as well as a diminutive pair of silver wings on his back. He also has metal toe caps and a long tail. Perhaps most unusually, Destro-King appears to have what looks like a fuel tank embedded in his back, which is most likely used to power him and supply energy for his attacks. He was deployed by the Garogas with the intention of killing the Zone family off. That's going to be every single monster that comes down. They all arrive in these special capsules. Any fans, or if you've watched a single episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it was always Rita Repulsa that shot down her staff, threw it down to Earth, and blew up the monster. Make my monster grow! That was her way to make the monster of the week large. The Garoga Empire shoot these capsules from their satellite that's orbiting Earth, and the monsters emerge from them.
Wow.
His abilities, Destro-King has a great degree of strength and can knock enemies over by headbutting them. Woo. He can also fire red lasers from each of his heads. Since Destro-King's heads are operated by the suit actor's arms, the fuel tank in Destro-King's back was where the suit actor's head would be. Man, just the intricacies of these suits.
I thought it looked kind of cheap. The suit. I liked the design of it, but like I thought it looked really cheap.
When you start looking into, because in addition to the temptation of me purchasing Ultraman, the first series for $8, you start looking at the figures, which can't be any more than several inch tall figures. They're like only a couple of dollars, and these figures are all of the monsters from the Ultraman series that he fights. The designs are nuts, dude. Just like these ones. They would be the most interesting little like characters to have. Some of them range between like $3 to $6. I mean, the most expensive figure I saw was maybe $11. And to have a figure from every single episode, this is Ultraman. We've ended episode 2 now. The temptation is high for a Godzilla tokusatsu junkie like myself to pursue collecting those.
All right, so that was episode 2. It ended with them looking through playing with a train set.
Maybe
that playing with their toys.
That probably had something to do with the plot of the episode. It probably was like, kids like trains, let's write an episode about trains.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that after we figure out what you're talking about with your book reading. So I clicked on episode 3.
Episode 3 has begun.
Hold on, let me try this again, just in case you're watching along with us.
So it hasn't begun. We're rewinding, as are you.
Okay. All right, let me try. Okay. I'm going to press episode 3 in 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
And Joe's going to monologue for just a moment.
Okay, I'm going to monologue for just a moment. I was going to talk to Drew while Drew takes off for no reason. I was going to talk about like one of the interesting ideas I see with this series, from what Drew has explained to me, not so much from what we've been watching. One of the interesting ideas with this series, and something that people have made fun of in other shows, is that they're just making a show to sell toys. Now, I don't know the exact specifics of this show, whether or not they actually put out any toys for this show, and I'll ask Drew when he gets out here. But this is perfect. You have your main central family be they're toy makers. So if they come up with any like interesting toy designs that perhaps Toho can license off and sell, that's a great way. If your show makes a lot of money, or if it's popular enough, you could just sell the toys that either the family makes, or that are based on the monsters or the heroes of this show.
Well, here in America, so you're talking toys now?
I'm talking toys. I'm talking how you would use the family as toy maker plot. to sell toys, even more toys. I think it's genius.
What would be like really innovative is if Toho had on the packaging of their toys like used whatever the Sakamori family's brand is. Like it's obviously going to be Toho, but they're like the Sakamori family brand made this toy, you know,
right
on the packaging. That would have been cool.
Exactly. So like the little bug toy thing in the first episode, and we sell that maybe.
We alluded to it. We were talking about them being a toy family manufacturer, but the reason we had to go into that was because in episode 1, after Hikari was captured by the Garogan undercover agents, he was pulled out of a trunk, and the toy that was like just apparently on his person fell out. It was like a little toy robot. It rocketed off and then like informed the Zone family of his like being captured, and so Zone Angel and Zone Junior came to save him. I'm not at all familiar with the way toys work or how they were promoted or how they're promoted today over in Japan. But, Joe, do you know much about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
No. I don't. I know it exists.
These are TV shows.
I did totally play with those toys, though.
Well, they're TV shows made to sell toys. It's not the other way around where you have you're like, we came up with a good story. We came up with a good plot, good characters. And here we have toys that are tie-ins. No, the toys come first, and you write the movie around it. Which, interestingly enough, do you know the name of the... He's famous for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series. Spider-Man, I'm looking it up.
Do I know the name of...
He's heavily involved with it. It starts with an A. The way that toys are promoted over here... Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. So you don't know about
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, like Sam Raimi or... I don't...
Oh, Zone Fighter.
It's a very broad question. Do you know the guy about Spider-Man?
I'm clicking on it.
Okay.
Great podcast here.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we do here, Drew.
It's going to be 4 hours of this if you're
look, we got a long series of no subtitles to lightly watch.
Lightly watch, to brush over.
And talk over. Because there's no way I'm watching this thing without talking over it if there's no subtitles. Oh, yeah, I think it's absolutely genius if you're gonna actually sell toys from the show. I almost want to copy its plot and try to do another television show like with Toy Maker Family.
They should have capitalized on that more.
Seriously, let's get the rights to this thing and sell it.
As far as we can tell in researching it, because Zone Fighter is such a popular brand.
Well, no, I mean it will be for American children.
Oh, what we could do...
No, we'll make a remake.
Several years ago, they recut, and I say like recut with quotes, they kind of added in like cartoon or comic book overlays on the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, re-released it on television, and like it was just like a way to rope in younger audiences into the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which went on for like 5 seasons, man, and update it so that it harped on the nostalgia for original viewers of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but while getting new fans. That's what we could do for this series, is take it, clean it up, edit it down a little bit, which there isn't much editing down you need to do, and just hope that there isn't too much Japanese-specific cultural things in it to make it appetizing for American audiences.
Unfortunately, this was filmed in full screen.
Oh, yeah.
So 4:3 aspect ratio.
So, in other words, the sides of our screen are being cut off here,
they're not being cut off. They just don't exist. So it was filmed in full screen and in 16 millimeter, as was pretty common for television shows all the way up till about the mid-90s.
Well, to get back to He-Man was before my time. How Zone Fighter could be, I don't know if it was, sold, like branded in merchandise and toys to children, is you not only have individual character toys, you're buying like the action figure of Zone Fighter, action figure of Zone Angel, etc., and all the monsters. But you can also have like the ultimate play set, which like just some cheap plastic giant piece that, I don't know, because I haven't yet seen. You also have to insert it well into your television show to be able to sell it to kids, because like original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon series, they had the Technodrome, which was this giant ball on wheels. It was like had tractor treads. Have you ever? How familiar are you with TMNT?
I'm Dynamite.
You're Dynamite.
TMNT.
Isn't
that how it goes?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're revealing to me that you are not familiar.
Not. That's once again a generation right before mine.
Oh, well, it was before mine as well.
So my sister was into it.
But in retrospect, I've gotten into it, and I had a lot of TMNT
My
figures
sisters that are
growing
7 to 10 years older than me are into it.
It's hard to describe the not only nostalgic value for it as an adult looking back at those toys and the series, but like as a child, the immense joy, excitement, the anticipation of receiving a figure, having them, and just playing with them. When I was in my mid-teenage years, I still got use out of them in that my friends and I made stop-motion videos with action figures.
Oh, did you?
I have no idea where those are nowadays.
Isn't that
with
sad?
My parents' camcorder, you know how we stop-motion videoed that, man? We couldn't have dialogue because of the way we did it, but we would set up the scene, and we would push the record button and immediately push it.
I've done
again,
that. I've done that before.
And then move them. Take hours to get like a scene or two.
Oh, that's cool. So you did that with
with a friend. Yeah, we did it quite often. We would use silly putty to like make it their feet, because these are action figures and we're putting them in the weirdest like scenarios and places, so they wouldn't like generally stand up, and we'd stick them down with silly putty.
Where'd you learn to do that?
We just had fun.
You just did it? Okay.
Yeah. It didn't, and it wasn't by any means technically like done well, because like I said, the only time there would be dialogue is if we had a still shot of the figure and we like have it set up, and then we push the record button and one of us speaks into the microphone. So there could never be any noise when they're actually moving.
I did similar things actually when I was a kid. So
I can't believe we didn't know this before.
I don't know. Yeah. So there was a Lego set that came out.
Yeah.
That was really, really expensive. It was like $150.
Did it have a little camera?
It did.
I bet we used the...
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't use that at first. We were using my parents' cassette, huge camcorder, but then later on, my friend got probably the exact same thing. Was a little blue camera.
Yeah.
Yep. We had the exact same thing.
This was called the Lego Studios collection.
Yep. Dude,
so
that
it would
was
take
before they figured out how to make Legos run. Lego figures run.
It would take like little pieces of mostly Spielberg movies, and it would like give you sets of those. And then the big one was like a Lost World Jurassic Park set. They didn't say it, but that's what it was. There was a dinosaur and like a couple of skyscrapers.
Didn't quite have the licensing.
Movie-ish backdrop.
Yeah.
And then it would come with a digital camera that would, through USB, connect to your Windows 98 computer.
I remember how revolutionary that was, that we could connect our camera to the computer to edit it.
And it was a very low-grade digital image. And you would have two modes. You would have direct recording mode, and then you would have a stop motion mode where you would just press the button on the top of the camera, and then it would like do 2 frames of a 24 frame.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's 24 frame. I have no idea. 24 frame per second animation thing.
Achieve much less chunky animation through those means, rather than taking the giant cassette recording camera and like pushing the button and as quickly as you could pushing the button again to stop it.
Right.
Very chunky.
And I have done stop motion that way too as a kid, but the Lego Studios thing that my friend was able to buy, like he had parents that were wealthy enough.
I was about to say my friend's was the one whose parents acquired that as well.
Yeah, they were able to buy that
reason.
Through like multiple coupons at Toys R Us, and it was like a holiday, so it was like for Christmas or something like that. And I was super jealous, but I would go over there and we would just make these.
I was always over at my friend's
we would
house
make these dinosaur shows. That's amazing. I didn't know we were linked that way.
Yeah, Joe and I met each other.
Ton of those
in like high school, late junior
like
high.
that.
So that was way predating.
Yeah. But anyway, so I love that. How come you don't do that anymore, Drew?
Joe, I think you continued as a film guy, but I had years of video games, Pokemon. I don't know. We branched off in separate directions.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't stop making movies.
I was involved in some of your movies.
Yeah, you did. You were involved in my in the first movie I made that was... No, not the first one, but like a continuation of a first one.
The first like series.
Sure. Okay, so there was this...
Really quick,
my
Joe,
parents...
let's before you get into it, let's just
right.
talk this real quick. This episode is Strike Garoga's Underground.
All right.
Oh, hey, there's a plot here. When they discover, I'm assuming this is the Zone family. I'm just going to read this very quickly. When the Zone's family discover that Hikaru is missing, the Japanese detective immediately head back to the Sakamori's home and inform the family. Yelling Zone power, the young man, Hikaru, transformed into Zone Fighter, took the mighty liner vehicle into the alternate dimension from which his family and friends had disappeared to.
Okay,
so
I see it now.
The Garogas have disapparated. That's like Harry Potter.
That is Harry Potter. Way to go.
That just came out. The Hikaru, the Sakamori family to this alternate dimension. Kind of a cool effect.
They're just in a dark room with like little stars,
little lights, LEDs,
and they're strapped to some chairs. I'm sure they're going to get out.
Very menacing. Right? The Garogas are menacing as all get out. But they took the Mighty Liner vehicle. That's the name of their car, by the way, Mighty Liner.
Okay.
Into the alternate dimension, which was a cool effect. The car was like spinning around on screen. They were obviously rotating the camera, the film, and it was all flashing purple. The Garogans endangered the plans, had to be punished, grunting in satisfaction. The gargoyle creature moved onto the tape. This is like horrible English. The youthful Zone Jr., who's taken to this dimension, managed to escape. Using the technological spaceship, the child flew into the alternate dimension in hope of finding his sister, Zone Angel, in time. Joe led the little boy and the father up to the surface as the newly transformed Zone Angel battled the red-eyed gold Garoga. It actually seems kind of uncommon that Zone Angel gets any fight time, because Hikari is their ultimate weapon because he can go like large. The other ones don't have that ability, and they're kind of like aid characters to him when he's large, because again, he runs out of power quickly. At the end of the episode, after vanquishing the beast, it's going to be named Dorola. We'll get into him once he's there, but we're going to go back to Joe in just a moment. After vanquishing the beast, Zone Fighter turned his attention towards the Garoga's underground base, turning the once technological base into flaming wreckage. When all was said and done, the Zone family returned the man and the boy to the grieving wife and mother. As with the last episode, wow, the Zone family often brings harm to these Japanese people because there was like a older brother and his younger brother that were involved in the plot of the last episode. Same with this one. It's like a father and a son, and the Zone family feeling like they're just bringing harm to people, feeling responsible to save these people. How flustered must you be to know the Hikari family and all of a sudden get captured? You are in danger just being friendly to the Hikari family,
or in their neighborhood, because they always send out.
Oh yeah, because they send the giant monster to take them out. That's true.
We saw an effect earlier where like some dudes like blew up and there was like blue flames. I thought it was a cool effect.
And then there's a red lighting. The Zone Liner, which is a car that can also fly. I think they're taking...
Oh, is it... Okay, I think I know what they did.
Obviously taking a model, but then there's some sort of an overlay over the model of the car.
I figured it out right on the last frame there.
Okay, so what's the shot?
All right, so the car's swimming around, and so it's like just a car against a black background, and then they've double exposed the film. The other part of the film is totally blinking lights over water.
Oh, yes, you're right, because you can see the reflection on the water.
Yeah.
So the overlay is and
it looks like black. A weird interdimensional...
it's a cool effect because the water's black, and what's the reflection of the light off the water makes it look all kind of like plasma-y, sort of. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so very inventive. Like,
very.
If anything, Here we see the Zone Angel fighting what I'm assuming is a Garogan general. How you distinguish Garogan henchmen from their generals from their like gold commander dude that's I'm assuming always up in the up in their satellite orbiting Earth is their eye color. So the henchmen have silver eyes. The Garogan generals, which like command the platoons of Garogan henchmen, have red eyes. We're going to see right here. Essentially, if you ever watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, these are the putties, the Garogan henchmen. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Garogan.
Garogan? Sure.
I want to say that the body of the Garogans kind of looks like Ultraman. I don't know. It's
head.
Yeah, Zone Fighter has come to the rescue.
Are they still in the other world, or
no? They've transported dimensions.
Well, except her, she's stuck behind.
She's stuck behind to battle the Garogan general.
Yeah,
lots of suspenseful drama here.
Yeah,
I gotta say one thing that really gets me into the. Apparently, Zone Fighter can just jump through dimensions.
Maybe they are in the old dimension. I don't know. Maybe
it's hard to tell because
maybe he drove his car through the dimension back,
and we didn't see
to
that.
Save them. So that dirt planet is where these guys are at. Is what I'm assuming.
It's a little difficult to tell only because when we are in the alternate dimension, when we're not seeing that great special effects that Joe was just describing to us, where they're at is like in a black room, or it's all darkened with only like one light shining on them, and there's like flashing colored lights everywhere. So obviously in the other dimension there, but then what we don't know whether it's another dimension or not is they're fighting in like a quarry, which is a staple of tokusatsu in Power Rangers and in all these Henshin Hero series. They always fight in these rock quarries.
And that special effect didn't work that well.
The special effect of the pod coming down to Earth.
Yeah. Oh, but now we got our giant monster. Look at this.
Somewhat of a fusion between... He's like a plant-based Gigan? Whoa.
Okay.
You know, I think they're going to do this a lot, Joe. The heads to the monsters are located on their chests, and the suit actor's head is like in a hump on the back of the monster. So this monster is called Dorola.
Oh, this thing weird looking, man.
It has a head on the back of its hump as well. Look at that. I didn't
really?
See it on television, but I definitely...
I totally see it now. Okay. He's got two heads. One is on his back. One is in his chest area. And then he's got two different appendages. So one is like a hook, like a half a crab claw.
It's like a scythe.
And then what is the other one? It's like a
rose
thingy?
tentacle?
A rose tentacle. Okay.
It's a tentacle that has a rose at the end.
Anyway, he's a very asymmetrical monster.
They're so colorful with these monsters. It seems like from the Showa era films that we've watched, if you ever think that Gigan may be a little over the top or something like King Caesar, he's not really over the top. He's actually just brown. But in the design of King Caesar, watch any of these episodes and just look at the monsters, or at least a still of the monsters from the Zone Fighter series. They're very creative in the monster designs. I'm going to talk about Dorola's powers. Dorola can use his crab claw and rose tentacle for mass destruction and for battling opponents. Yeah, he also emits streams of gas from his mouth and can discharge a vast amount of mist to shroud himself. Also, the mist can give an opponent the impression he is teleporting. He uses edited roars from some other kaiju. I failed to mention, Joe, the suit actor for Zone Fighter. Like, it's going to be hard. We have to distinguish anytime we say Zone Fighter the character, not Zone Fighter the series.
Right.
Suit actor is, here we are portrayed by Tatsumi Nikamoto. This man was Titanosaurus in Terror of Mechagodzilla.
And
really? He's going to be portraying Ultraman. So those are the two big ones that he portrayed as a suit actor. He did a lot of... he still does work today, I guess, in the Ultra series. So he's been various monsters through the Ultraman series, which has just turned into the Ultra series because every new season is a new Ultra this, Ultra that. But yeah, a prolific suit actor, Tatsumi Nikamoto. Still alive today, still working in stunt coordination on the Ultra series in Japan.
That's pretty cool.
You gotta give it up to when the fight just turns into...
That was awesome.
Yeah, he ripped off...
chopped off his arm.
Whatever the monster's name is. He ripped off his crab claw arm and used it to cut off his rose tentacle arm. My favorite thing is when... he's trying to transport him to the other dimension. No, he's teleporting.
He's doing like a invisible thing like you were talking about before where he
using the mist he emits.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
really
I'm getting you a little
effect.
bit into these types of shows. I hope so.
This is just...
The best thing that you can get out of the fights here is when it is just Japanese singing in the background, like super hype cheering, and you watch the fighting. Exactly.
Yeah. Are they going to use that song in every episode? Is my question.
I only hope, because I know from being a Power Rangers fan that when they do that, when the battle becomes the singing, cheering, fighting, that's when my excitement is at its peak. That's what I've been waiting the whole episode to see, regardless of how good the human drama story element of the episode was, like subpar to good. I want to see the fight. And then a very low angle shot of Zone Fighter doing his pose.
Is that the real sun? I think it is.
Yeah, so obviously it's a outside shot.
That outside.
Shot it outside of the studio.
Does their car? What's the name of the car again?
Zone Liner.
Zone Liner. Wow.
Sounds like a brand of Zone condoms.
Does their car? Yeah, that's good.
Using Zone Liners. Use your Zone Liner.
Yeah.
To prevent.
Use it on your zone.
Does their car prevent what, Joe?
Their car looks like the Speed Racer car. It's got the red stripe and it's a white car.
Oh yeah,
just like
as long as they don't
not exactly like the Speed Racer,
they don't,
but it reminds me of
the clunky animation of Speed Racer.
Okay, so they came home and obviously their parents are missing them. What is the story of their parents?
They're obviously all aliens. The whole Sakamoto.
It's not obvious that they're aliens. I would correct you on that.
They all come from Peace Land, the whole family.
Peace Land.
And they use their children to fight this war. Their children have
these
powers.
As it should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next generation shall fight to preserve the legacy of the Zone family. In reading about... I'm going to try to sort this out in my head. But in trying to read into the origins of the series, we're ending Zone 3 here. It's unclear to me. Let's just start episode 4.
Episode 4. 3, 2, 1, go.
Some sources said that the Garogans were pursuing Hikari to Earth in wanting to destroy Hikari. Some sort... Godzilla!
Godzilla's going to be in this episode.
Yes, episode 4. Godzilla's here.
All right.
Some sources stated that the Garogans followed Hikari to Earth to take him out. Some sources said that because the Garogans apparently just destroy worlds. It's kind of like in Dragon Ball Z, Frieza was like a planet broker where he would I don't know, he'd sell planets to people. He'd conquer planets and sell them off to other alien species. But apparently the only intent of the Garogans is to destroy. We see a flashback at the beginning of episode 4. The episode has actually begun. Oh, no, it hasn't. This is into the theme song. Never mind. Yeah. But anyway, so the whole premise of the series is either they're pursuing Hikari to Earth because they want to destroy him, or they're just are off going... Earth is their next target, essentially, and it just happens to be that the Zone family had made that their home. So intentionally or not, the Zone family is there defending the planet. They're definitely intentionally defending it, but who knows if they thought to come to Earth in need of defending it. I think they're called Peacelandians. How lame is that? But the Peacelandians, the Zone family, came to Earth either to just chill, just luckily they brought some of their zone fighting technology with them. Otherwise, the Earth would have been screwed.
That's right.
Or they knew coming to Earth that the Garogans were on their way and wanted to defend it. I would think the former, only because they like set up a business and are all successful here on Earth, very well integrated into Earth life. Joe, what were you
so
talking?
stylish too.
Yeah, a very, very stylish family.
Yeah.
Hikari is like the man. He drives cars. He's like super good looking, and then he has an alter ego. He's Superman. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, alter ego turning into.
Except the family totally knows what he's up to.
Yeah, other than the episode to episode, we get a like incidental. There's these, like we were saying, anybody who comes in contact with the Zone family, they like are in harm's way. Other than that, we really just get a lot of the family, which is fine with me. If all we have is like drama between family members, and then oh man, I hope they're not going to pursue romantic relations with like Earthlings. It's going to get weird.
It would be hard not to if you're writing
if
this
they're
show.
really integrating themselves.
All right, so there's been some kind of
culture.
meteor spotted. It's okay,
See.
Drew, but the problem is Godzilla shows up in this episode, so we got to actually pay attention.
Well, let's see if I can get a plot for this episode.
So they find the meteor out in the field.
They keep finding like crashed. I wondered if
like, hey, I wonder if those guys are still after us.
yeah. Well, they obviously haven't like taken them out. They're still orbiting the Earth. But
that vest. Oh man, that vest is beautiful. It's
let's get
it's
into
a
fashion
leather.
not any sort of
It's a leather
colored
vest.
leather. It's like just leather.
It's got layers of what do you call it? Like leather strips.
They're
going down?
tassels, yeah. Leather strips.
So
when you think of
it's
a
like
traditional Native American
it's like
garb,
it's a Native American inspired
Leather jacket.
leather jacket. That is intense, dude. That is a great jacket.
Joe, I'm getting scared. We're very quickly running out of plot synopsis for these episodes.
There's also a toy plane that's running after him, and he's all scared, but the other guy's like, haha, it was just me, and it was one of our toys that we've manufactured.
Possibly. I think this is a Garogan spy.
You think so?
Because he, like, almost murdered this man.
No, it's just one of the family members, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're right.
What the crap?
Hey, dude.
Unfortunately,
we're
they
full-
have the same hair.
Yes, we're full 70s. I was about to say that in hairstyle and clothing. Hikari is just a sharp-dressed man. He's got this awesome driving jacket with some really stylish, like, imagery on it. Just lines, red and blue lines, which does a lot for a garment, to be honest, when the way the cut and the lines form together, too.
The clothing is amazing in this show. It's amazing.
One thing that I have to give props to 70s clothing is they weren't afraid to do like 90% of my wardrobe is black band t-shirts and just black shirts in general.
It's because you're a metal guy, Drew.
But very
So
colorful. Yes, 70s. They just weren't afraid to mix and match colors and wardrobes. Like, there you go. Head of the Hikari family has an orange ascot and a green like house coat. Like,
Yeah, they're very strong colors. At least
hey, they
in the
weren't
show.
afraid to use. Do you think that's how people just dressed in the 70s, right?
I don't know if it was that extreme all the time for all people.
Certainly the relics we have of the 70s, which are preserved in television and movies.
They're not always that bad. At least with American stuff, they're a little bit more subdued. But
So the TV show here, the
I feel like the TV
portrayal of their
show-
wardrobes kind of going out on a limb.
because it's a TV show, it's just like it's put to the extreme.
Yeah, they have a wardrobe that they... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're well dressed.
Well dressed.
We're going on about clothing because it's kind of boring so far.
Yeah, where's Godzilla? That's what I came
Not
to
only
watch.
is where's Godzilla, but what's going on, because there is not a plot synopsis for this episode, surprisingly.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
I'm going to look through the fan wiki now and see if I can get some plot synopsis.
Okay, so are they only ever going to fight at nighttime?
That's a terrible
it hasn't been
production
every
choice.
fight, but it's been a lot of them.
Every giant monster fight is taking place at night. You're right, Joe, and I wouldn't have even read into that as being we get 2 monsters in this episode as well.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
this
have
thing
read
is
into
ugly.
it as trying to hide bad special effects, but you're
Of course it
right.
is. Look at
It
this
just
thing.
makes for the viewing experience like it's not as cool, not as fun, because everything is so dark. This monster is called Wagalar.
It looks like the monster at the beginning of Men in Black.
Wagalar is a long-necked, spiny creature which vaguely resembles crustaceans and insects. The Garogans use a lot of crustacean insect monsters so far.
Well, they look like crustacean insect monsters.
They have long antennas. True. And faces like the Martians from Invaders from Mars.
Yep.
He has a gray, so this is, again, Wagalar. He has a gray-brown body with flaps of skin above his legs and fronds above his arms, which look somewhat like seaweed, like Spylar, another monster, I guess. He has 2-toed feet and claws for hands. His belly and neck are dark orange. He has an orange crescent-shaped head. Wagalar's neck is covered in spines, and he has 2 orange antennae at the back of his head. His eyes are bright green and supported on stalks, so he has, like, buggy eyes. His abilities. He has an unusual ability. He can fire both conventional flames and a concentrated beam of magma from his mouth. His signature move is double barrel chest cannon, in which he fires 2 powerful beams of energy from his chest. We're getting, as a special effect, an actual flamethrower from the monster's mouth. So, props to the
We missed
special effects
a
design.
pretty cool visual effect earlier.
Describe it, Joe.
So, Ultraman, this is a new power for him, as far as I know. He came up with I would say a laser beam sort of thing in between his hands and shaped it into a mirror. A giant mirror, and then the monster, when he did his flamethrower thing, it just hit the mirror. But it was a way cool effect.
You have to stop me when I'm talking the next time we see that, because I haven't seen it yet and I want to see that. It's one of his abilities to create barriers. Zone Fighter can create barriers to block or deflect missiles. The one we're seeing almost every single episode so far.
Whoa! Some
Wagalar just
other
disappeared.
dude just used a big scary gun.
Zone Fighter's ability we see very often is his meteor missiles. He comes in pretty stripped down as a fighter. He just is wearing a suit, like a one-piece suit, and then throughout the fight he kind of suddenly achieves he has missiles around his wrists, like missile bracelets. Zone Fighter is capable. They're called meteor missiles. He's capable of unleashing barrages of missiles called the meteor missiles that are strong enough to destroy most Taro beasts. It's one of Zone Fighter's strongest attacks and is often used as his finishing move.
I do wonder. That's got to be tough for the actor, because you see it pop right out of those holes that are right next to his hand.
Ouch.
And he's got to get some burns from that BS. That's got to be rough.
They got to have a lot of gloves on hand because he's burning holes through
Yeah, I don't know how they. Well, it looks like they just did it. It looks like they just have fireworks shooting out of it. Yeah, and so would he?
Roman candles.
Yeah. It seems like that would cause some injury. I do wonder if that actor has some scarring on his hands from the
Tanaka. Is it Tanaka? The suit actor,
the suit actor, the one that you mentioned last episode.
That most portrayed Godzilla.
Oh, okay, you're talking about that one. Okay,
he has to have scars. So these suit actors who, if you're a suit actor long enough, it's inevitable that you're gonna
bodily harm,
bruises.
Abuse. Yeah,
you're gonna be bruised, cut up.
Once again, no Godzilla still. They got one heck of a dinner set up here. Lots of
they do. Luckily,
lots
they have
of bread and
family.
giant fruit. What is that?
They're bananas.
Look at that apple. It's like
that apple's the size
it's
of
like 6 inches tall.
someone's fist.
Yeah.
A large fist.
It's like, well, yeah, it's fake fruit, but geez, what's the scale on this thing?
Well, let's devolve a little bit here into chauvinistic pygmales. What do you think of Zone Angel? She's pretty attractive.
I like the short skirt version of her, but I'm afraid of having an opinion because I don't know her age.
She's over 18.
She's okay, all right. She's fine.
But Zone Angel, very cute.
She's cute, yeah.
The member of the family, Hotaru is her name. You know how
that jacket, dude. That jacket is like so front and center.
He's talking again about the Native American inspired.
Yeah.
There's like fringe, those tassels all over the jacket.
It is amazing.
When you really don't treat
I know what it reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Midnight Cowboy?
No.
Okay. Totally, that jacket's totally in that movie.
I was gonna say I haven't seen Easy Rider. Well, I really need to see that movie.
That's a different kind of movie.
No, but I'm just saying it reminds me of something like that.
Let's list all the 70s movies.
70s style.
70s and late 60s movies Drew needs to see.
70s style motorcycle riding gear. Lots of like you still get the fringe tassels on like black when you see a Harley and they have like
I've seen those type of jackets, but on that guy there's something about it.
Yeah, and the cut of the jacket's pretty cool.
All right, so we have evil toys all of a sudden in
unfortunately not a plot synopsis
Zone
for
Angel's
this episode.
room.
I know the plot synopsis for the last episode helped out so much.
So the little toys they use to fight Godzilla in the movies, they now are just toys.
Are actual toys. They reuse the special effect.
And they're actually shooting at the girl.
And toys.
That's kind of crazy.
We're supposed to believe are actual tanks and jet fighters in the Godzilla films.
And they're all experiencing like PTSD when these things are shooting. That's what it seems
because the Zone family is a family that manufactures toys. Their house, of course, is filled with these toys, and I'm supposing that somehow the Garogan Empire has taken over the toys and are attacking them.
And it has Fur Elise playing in the background. This is odd.
One thing we haven't mentioned yet, Joe, is
like
how
the artsy
dark
episode.
How dark some of the... I'm not talking about like film stock and lighting wise, but how dark some of these episodes can get. In the second episode, no, third, because that was the last one where they were just in the alternate dimension. There was like the undercover as humans Garogans, and they were like in medical gear, and they had a scalpel, and they about cut into either Zone Jr. or the other boy that was caught in that dimension.
Right.
And it gets dirty. Episode 1, the guy who's definitely not short round, but he had a gun pulled on the Zone family. I don't think we've seen like a realistic gun since then. We've seen like lasers, but Japanese television, and I don't know if it was just 70s, because I doubt that 70s American television could get away with stuff like that, but goes very dark. Wow. Wagalar, whatever this beast's name is destroying a city. They're shooting an actual flamethrower from the mouth of this suit actor.
So once again, dude stuck in a big rubber suit. It has no way to get out quickly enough if his suit has problems, and he's got a flamethrower.
And the pyrotechnics connected directly to the suit, shooting like several feet of flame in front of the... You just have to hope that there's no blowback there. None at all. One would really, really hope. The creative choices, as inventive as they are for a lot of these monsters, I can see that they would take, like, I don't know, just have elementary school kids draw monsters and submit their drawings, and there's your monster of the week. Can you see that?
I could see something like that.
Slightly modifying.
Do we know if that happened on the show, or
no?
is that
but
just on Megalon?
I'm just saying you totally could.
You could, yeah. I agree.
Another thing as a child that I did very often was draw monsters. I just liked drawing monsters, and that was well before really viewing any Godzilla films, but I would fill notebooks up with like monster designs because monsters were cool. And, okay, I believe Wagalar, I believe is the monster's name. He's now showing off his attack number 2, where he can shoot like concentrated magma, plasma beams.
Yeah, out of a barrel.
Yeah, because before
In his
he didn't
face.
he didn't have any sort of a barrel coming out of his snout, but then a barrel protruded from his snout. Oh, this is the first time I've seen like a blue screened effect of a monster on like an actual horizon.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of far between because they would have the budget to do that kind of. Well, sometimes they would have the budget to do do that kind of thing on the movies, but not on television. Okay,
I failed to mention that ability of Zone Fighter. He is able to teleport through broadcast TV to wherever the monster is.
Did we see?
How convenient is that for storytelling that no matter where Hikari is, as long as there's a television broadcast of a monster attack, he can turn into Zone Fighter and fly through the television to where the monster's attacking.
That's literally what we saw. We saw him jump towards the TV and get really small and go through the TV into the other place. It is what?
Episode 4, we're again getting more guns, like real pistols. It's surprising me that this, because maybe it was more of a 90s thing, but I know that Canada nowadays is just, they're very strict about portrayals of like firearms in children's television. It's surprising me that we got this the line of it's pirated, but it's from Canada, the Sumo Gorilla copies that we have, and the fact that we didn't get a release over here, I'm not quite sure if we have or not, of Zone Fighter. In any case, it's Canadian, but it's Region 1, so we can watch it here, because Canada has, in its past, and I believe down through today, is notorious for being real strict on what it portrays in children's television. They didn't like a lot of, well, I guess they had the same problem with Power Rangers and their, like, guns that they had in early Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They just didn't portray that footage from Super Sentai very much. The actual Power Rangers had, like, guns that they used.
I know that for American television, it's like smoking, so they got rid of smoking in the mid-90s in television shows.
I was going to say, I haven't seen smoking yet in the series.
Which is funny, like, violence is more acceptable than smoking is.
Zone Junior's coming to save Zone Angel. So, I'm guessing what we're going to start seeing a recurrence of here from episode to episode. Wow, that's kind of a cool fight move. Zone Junior crawled between the Garogan henchman's legs and like pushed the back of his knees to make him fall over. But I think we're gonna over and over see the Garogan henchman just turned into a giant monster. That's the first time we've seen that. I think simultaneous to Zone Fighter fighting a giant monster, Zone Angel and Zone Junior are gonna be fighting like Garogan henchmen on the ground. So you know they have something to do.
This where's Godzilla?
He's got to show up because this episode 1, we did have two monsters, but they came at him one at a time. They came at Zone Fighter one at a time. This episode, it's 2 against 1. Zone Fighter is facing off against not only, it's like Wagalar is his name. Yeah, wow, I'm surprised I got that right. But also Spylar. Okay, Spylar. He just made his appearance. Spylar resembles a heavily altered theropod. Yeah, giant crescent out of his back. Godzilla's going to make an appearance any moment now.
Okay.
Spylar resembles a heavily altered theropod dinosaur. He has long, bulky legs which are covered in bulbous scales and bumps. He also has orange-brown circles on the front of his torso. His head and neck are bright orange. He has luminescent blue eyes with what appear to be bolts underneath them. His back is covered in tuberous spines, and he has 2 antennae and a bent spike emerging from his forehead. Spylar has large claws for hands and 2-toed feet.
Here he is.
Yes!
Alright, so
this is
Zone Fighter is getting beat, and then suddenly Godzilla is showing up.
This is the Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Megalon.
He's a Godzilla that's helping, I assume, Zone Fighter.
So if you're wondering what Godzilla looks like, appearance, facial features, just watch Godzilla vs. Megalon or look that up, and you get to see what was dubbed the cross between a Kermit the Frog and Godzilla. In chronology wise, the events of Zone Fighter take place between Godzilla vs. Megalon and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, so it would make sense that he looks the same as he did in Megalon.
I love that Godzilla has finally showed up because this is why we're watching it. So Godzilla, he heard the call of the Zone Fighter, and Godzilla's like beating the crap out of these guys. Is he going to pull off? Oh, dude, he pulled off the crescent.
He just tore
off,
off his back.
How many freaking monster suits do they have to make for this show? Jeez Louise, because like none of these creatures have made a return yet, and I doubt they will because they're getting limbs ripped off.
Yeah. They're heavily reused for sure. Heavily
just
reused,
using pieces up and then like repainting them.
They repaint. They
yeah, but those things by the end of this run were like just falling apart.
What's going to be interesting is if we actually see, I don't think we'll see it in this series, but in Ultraman, there's some stills I've seen from episodes of the original Ultraman where they took an old Godzilla suit and basically would paint it a different color and add like spines to the back of Godzilla. It's very clearly Godzilla, but say he's like bright purple and has a giant fin on his head.
Sure.
It's strange to say the least. There's something about the production value of this show. Because really, the suits reused and constructed for the Kaiju and Taro Beast in the series are of considerably better construction and design than Toho's previous tokusatsu series. I don't know what their previous tokusatsu series was.
We'll find out for next episode.
Unless they're referring to the Godzilla series, because tokusatsu can refer to either television or film. Zone is strong. He just lifted Spylar.
Dude, pulled one of those off.
That's the first time I've noticed.
Sweet.
I've noticed his other ability, Joe. His ultimate attack is the proton beam. Godzilla beating his chest, roaring. So yeah, Godzilla is friend to Zone Fighter. Zone Fighter just finished off Spylar after throwing him into the air with his proton beam.
Yeah, so he threw him into the air, and then like midair, like someone throwing up a baseball and then hitting it with a bat, sort of like that. He threw him up into the air, and then he like laser beamed him from his head and blew him up. My question is, why didn't he just use that laser beam earlier?
You got to make it flashy.
Yeah. He's like, I only kill things if it's cool.
I have to pad out 10 minutes of fight time.
That's right, dude. That's what the show's about.
He's using his proton beam. Zone Fighter can fire the proton beam from the antenna on top of his head. The proton beam uses much of Zone's energy. It can destroy some Taro beasts in one shot. However, this is minor spoilers for later episodes, Gellar was able to take several shots of the beam without suffering any ill effects.
All right.
And that was episode 4.
That was episode 4, and Godzilla finally showed up. And hold on 1 second while I...
oh, my goodness. I just saw King Ghidorah.
Oh,
I don't believe Godzilla's going to make an appearance in this one in episode 5, but the King Ghidorah is making an appearance in episode 4. Nope, 5, sorry.
Sorry, the PlayStation... we're using a PlayStation 4, and the remote just died. The controller. Okay, so... this is going to be the final one for this episode. This specific sit down.
This sit down, yes.
Yes.
So this is disc 1.
Disc 1,
episode 5.
So I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. All right. So like we saw the teaser, just barely, but we're going to watch it again because that's how it works. It looks like King Ghidorah is going to show up in this episode, which I didn't even know he was going to be in this show.
Yeah, we get King Ghidorah and Gigan. This King Ghidorah appears to be... I don't know what suit they would have used. He's looking more along the lines of original Ghidorah, not so much like... Because, man, Ghidorah's final appearance in... I believe it was Godzilla vs. Gigan. Had a lot of qualms with that, where it was just like... he had this long hair on his head, and it was just ugly. It's an ugly King Ghidorah.
This is probably the King Ghidorah used in Godzilla or in Destroy All Monsters.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Because the timeline fitting on there, it's like 1973.
The suit wasn't stomped too much when they kill Ghidorah in Destroy All Monsters.
I'm assuming it's that suit, maybe with some modifications.
Makes a lot of sense.
Then again, he was in Gigan, and that was
But
the same suit, or was
Gigan-
that a different suit?
The heads looked very different, so possibly just altered those heads.
Yeah, possibly.
Very, very bad looking Ghidorah. Not a fan of the Gigan, Godzilla vs. Gigan Ghidorah. Okay, Zone Fighter series. Let's see if there is a synopsis for this episode. Really surprised there wasn't a synopsis for the last one because,
It's got Godzilla!
Exactly. Come on, Godzilla fans. Go to
Godzilla.
Wikizilla, write us up a... I mean, we're saying that like we can't do it ourselves.
You
but
do it!
We're
sit through this thing and not know Japanese and watch this show.
We're taking hours and hours and hours and hours of our life, which over the course of doing this series, the Godzilla podcast,
Sure.
it's like so stretched out that it doesn't feel that bad, but we are marathoning this, so it hurts. The last episode
Don't
was
say
Invasion.
that in 5 episodes, Andrew.
The last episode was Invasion. Garoga's Grand Army Godzilla appears. Oddly enough, on Wikizilla, no plot synopsis.
Wow.
This episode is called
Disappointing.
Attack King Ghidorah.
Sweet.
Plot TBA. There's no plot
okay,
synopsis.
No plot synopsis.
I
That's
can
fine.
click on King Ghidorah though here, and we'll see if
We kind of get it though. Like the Garuda things or whatever they're called.
they
They always Garogan.
Yeah.
Whatever. Garuda. What is that from? The can't do it. I can't do it. The bug aliens.
yeah.
They always want to trap these guys, so they send some small gadgets or like a person after them to try to kill him.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work, and then they have to send a monster, and then they fight the monster. That's the plot for every single one of these episodes so far.
Yep.
And like right now, we're having a Garodin.
That's the Garogan general.
Garogan
he has
meeting.
red eyes, but he's got like a cape. So that distinguishes him. Because they all have the same face. They all have the same body, which, again, very convenient for the special effects artists and this the wardrobe manufacturers. It's like all they have to switch out to make different Garogans is their eyes, because the eye colors indicates what they are. Very awesome
Sweet.
intro for King Ghidorah.
Except that one of the heads smacked into the other head on accident. I just saw that.
Dude, that probably happens so many times on film that we don't even notice.
I mean, it does, but not usually in that part. This time it was like, bamp.
Slight variation on Ghidorah's origin in this series, because I can't quite remember, but in the film Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, his origins are that he just comes out of a meteor from space. I don't think he was created by anything. He just flies to Earth.
He was just the creature that was there, and then the aliens had to hide from him, and they wanted to...
That was Astro Monster.
Yeah, that was the first one that he was in.
No, he was in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and then he was in Astro
right.
Monster.
You're right.
But his origins were just that he's a monster from
I
space.
just got those two movies mixed up.
In
Thank
this, you're good. In this series,
There's too many movies.
yeah, King Ghidorah's origins are that he is created by the Garogans. So origins change just a little bit.
Hey, it looks just like that other monster from those other aliens.
Yeah,
That's
and
weird.
they use the same name.
That's weird.
But he is the only monster in this series that will not be destroyed. He will escape. I know that.
There's a lot of physical fighting between the human characters, by the way, in this.
A lot of
show.
pushing, a lot of shoving, teaching children the right thing.
That's right. Fight.
Well, that was the fight that every parent who was against Power Rangers in the 90s used, is that it's teaching children like to resolve conflicts through violence, basically.
Well, how else would you resolve them, Drew?
It's true. I actually
don't understand.
I did a fan meet and greet event with Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, then the White Ranger,
Well,
and
original
a Red
and the
Ranger,
American recut,
and
yeah.
another Red Ranger, and then a Black Ranger. But No, the original Mighty Morphin,
Right.
because it was Z Ranger over in Japan. Anyway, I did a meet and greet with him, and I got to ask him the question in the meet and greet, what would you say to parents in the 90s who were against Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because they thought it was too violent?
He would say anything,
I would
just punch
say,
him.
ha, 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 basically, because the success it's garnered today.
Right.
But also, he said he would want to teach children what the parents should have done is look to their kids, say, so you enjoy this? Well, do you want to maybe take like martial arts, go to karate lessons?
And the first thing that they teach you at any of those places, by the way, is like, don't fight if you don't have to.
Exactly. Never. Like, I knew several kids growing up who had, whatever the high level belts are. I don't know what below black belt is, but they took a lot of martial arts courses. I never once saw them, or they never used their like training outside of their like when they went to the classes. So as much as like I had friend after friend who took martial arts, never ever saw them use them. So very disciplined.
Yeah, I've dabbled. I took a few kickboxing classes.
Cool.
A couple years ago, and that was like a really good workout.
I was going to say, for a very brief time, I actually used Jason David Frank. I'll just refer to him as JDF, the original Green Ranger. JDF's like online training where he because he has dojos.
Sure.
Like he has his own style of martial arts that he's made, a fusion of lots of things. But probably similar to your kickboxing, I do that in front of the television, but like it was a workout where he's teaching you how to fight, posturing, different stances, where to like place your feet, what to keep up. Like I never would have thought how much blocking was required. Well, obviously blocking's required, but how to successfully block like punches. It's pretty cool. I did that for a while, but then I wanted to quit paying for it.
I also took 4 days of martial arts as a child, and I just wasn't into it back then. And now I like kind of regret it. Like that would have been really good for me, and maybe I wouldn't be so fat.
Oh, Joe.
Maybe that would be good. Okay, so we were going to talk about once you go fat, you never go back. Like,
oh yeah, yes.
Okay.
So what is that, Joe?
Okay, so like I said, I made all these like
in your series now.
I made all these stop motion films with my friend Timo as a little kid.
Yeah.
And then at some point, my parents got me a VHS-C camera, and I would make movies where you would just cut in camera. Like I didn't know that you could have two VHS players like connected to each other.
Yeah, I only found out about that years later
do
as well.
Editing. I was like, oh man, that's genius. I never did that. I just had to go, okay, I'll point the camera this way, you say this, and then I'll point the camera the other way, you say this. And so I made movies that way for a while. And then my parents got a little digital camera that was just like a regular camera, but it had a video mode, right? For like 240p
camcorder.
Yeah. It was just like a still camera, like just a really little digital still camera. It's not very
not
good
even a camcorder?
quality. And then it had 240p and a mic on the camera, which actually wasn't that bad of a mic.
Yeah.
When I watched my old videos, I'm like, oh, that was lucky. But anyway, the first time that I realized I could take that and that there was an editing program that went on my parents' new laptop.
Exactly.
And then so I went out and we made this like I Am Legend remake.
Nice.
But it was with fat people instead of zombies.
Yeah, and it's still online?
It is. It's once you go fat, you never go back. And
I'm gonna YouTube that right now.
And I love the fact that I just want someone to watch that and then watch a manual song.
Joe's come a long ways.
There's a marked difference in quality.
Currently, it's not. Joe, you should, because you don't have a pinned tweet on your Twitter account, you should pin the link to the YouTube video Emmanuel's song, because I can't.
We're submitting into festivals, so that's a private YouTube link.
That's why
I can't put it publicly anywhere yet.
When you can.
When I can, yeah. When I can, that'll happen, I'm sure. We'll probably put it on Amazon as well.
So it's once you go fat,
you never go back.
That actually showed up.
Yeah.
And it's the third one down in the search.
There's two different versions. There's
JD Malachi.
Yeah. There's the one version that's just the short that I did in high school, and like we put them together with another short that we did later.
Did you ever submit these to any classes in high school?
Yeah, of course. It was in junior high. I was younger than that.
Yeah.
And then there was a version where we were like, dude, let's make this a feature-length movie. And we never finished it, but we did. This is where you come in, Drew. We did do scenes where like you were the skinny guy infiltrating the fat guy camp. And you had to fight Jeff and...
I was going to say, was I portrayed by, like, Dawn
and John.
Yeah, but
you had to fight them.
I was going to say, did I have, like, a fat alter ego?
You didn't.
Just, okay.
You didn't. Yeah.
I
was the Chup because I wasn't quite fat enough.
Oh.
So I would...
you were, like, the in-between?
I was the in-between.
So you briefly mentioned that it's it's in the vein of I Am Legend, so go more into that, because what's the lore of once you go fat, you never go back?
Fat people. There are sanctuaries for the skinny people left over, but the fat people have taken over the world and are trying to get the skinny people to eat a bunch of food to be fat like them. And at the beginning, you see this father, and he's taking his Asian son.
Anybody who takes fat shaming in any way seriously, you're not going to like
too bad.
The premise to
too
this.
Bad. I'm a fat guy, and I don't care. This is hilarious.
Fat people are inhuman monsters. They're not really, but in this series,
this is hilarious. All right, and it's still funny to me. I watched that short, and I still laugh.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
And it might just be funny to the people in it, but I still laugh.
It also helps the song choices that you have.
Oh yeah, it's great. So like, the father tries to take the son to the fat sanctuary, and then the son,
the skinny sanctuary. You mean
the skinny sanctuary? Sorry, sanctuary from the fat people, and then this. They get trapped by these two fat guys, one of which is played by me, and then the other one played by our friend John, who's not as fat as he used to be, because he started hiking and crap and smoking a lot of weed and somehow got skinnier. Anyway, so what happens? Like, they get caught, and then he's infatuated by this fat guy. And then he goes off with him. He walks off into the sunset. And it's
the
great.
music. What music do you use?
Josh Groban.
What's the song?
I don't know the song.
But anything Josh Groban that's like really heartfelt and emotional.
Oh, so good.
Like, brings a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
Yet it's just fat people.
So he sees him, and it's in slow motion, and it's just beautiful filmmaking. If I have to say so myself.
The father very emotionally calling out to his son, "Don't go with the fat man.
Yeah, no,
don't look into their roles."
Anyway, so that's where we restart, because we wanted to take that short, and well, I say we, it was probably me, and then forcing other people to do it. I wanted to take this short
fun.
And make it a longer movie, and so there was like this really complicated plot. I think I actually wrote a script.
Really,
stuff that wasn't shot. That script does not exist anywhere now, I'm sure. I tried to do a similar thing later, though. It was like Tie Man.
I don't know anything about
Tie Man. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun to make. And since then, I made a bunch of shorts on that little digital camera. Later, I got like a T3i. I made a couple things on that. And then in film school, still using my T3i. And then... we got to use the Red Epic for Emmanuel's song, which is why it looks like a movie, because that's what movies are filmed on.
Yeah, on Reds.
Yeah. They're filmed on Reds or Aris. Aris are honestly more popular now, but
REs is what they're called.
ARRI is the brand of camera. They used to do film cameras, and now they do the really high-end digital camera.
Yeah.
It's the RE Alexa, and then the Red Epic as well, which was what The Hobbit was filmed on. So we used the same camera that The Hobbit was filmed on.
It looked good. You've allowed me to watch Emmanuel's song, and it did look great. The Zone family. I don't know what's going on because we do not speak Japanese, but they just fought off some Garogan henchmen. I just heard her say Ghidorah. But Ghidorah is floating in the sky. Ghidorah
he's just kind of chilling. You know,
Ghidorah always seems to have the ability, and this is definitely not due to special effects. He has the ability to float without flapping his wings.
yeah, why does
Like
he
to
even
hover?
have wings?
It's for effect, I guess.
I guess.
But the Zone family kind of, I just don't know what's going on because we don't have a plot synopsis here. They fought the henchmen as in their unaltered, like without their zone abilities. They're not in costume, essentially. But then they turn into the Zone fighters, Zone Angel and Zone Junior, for part of it. So it appears like in Power Rangers, where they're able to like use their own martial arts abilities to a certain point, but then they're like further augmented and become like stronger and faster when they don their uniforms.
Better, faster, stronger.
The Garogans that it just showed, like the general speaking from his like his like orbiting satellite down to the Zone fighters. You can really see the brain on them that very much resembles the Martians from Invaders from Mars.
Right.
I kind of discounted that like opinion before that they looked like them, but it's true because they have like exposed brains, which is
And they got the big heads and they got the little antennae. They really do look a lot like them.
very advantageous to their evolution that they have brains on the outside of their skulls.
Looks like they're gonna go into their Zone fighter modes.
So they were fighting for a minute, the henchmen, and then they turned into their Zone fighter modes. We're not speaking officially here, but that's just what we're going to call it. And then they like went back into their regular human forms. They're human-like, these Peacelandians, and they listened to Ghidorah and the general, and then they just went back into their Zone fighters.
Oh man, what?
Zone fighter costumes. What often happens in the fights?
What just happened?
See? Just said it. Zone double time.
Okay.
He chants that phrase, grows giant, and then how Zone Angel and Zone Fighter help him is by flying through the air in their like helicopter.
Zone Junior.
Zone Junior, thank you. And they like provide backup. I don't know that they like.
It's not so much a helicopter. It's like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a spaceship. You're right.
Anyway.
But we've also failed to mention Zone's ability to, and I really hope that the PlayStation is not going to do something now. It's listening to us. A prompt just came up on the screen.
Yeah, we said something that sounded like something, home screen, go away.
Awesome.
Oh, wow, that worked.
That's cool.
That either worked or that was the same time.
Zone Fighter has the ability, just like Jet Jaguar, to form his arms into a V, and he kind of like puts his legs together, and he can fly. This is really the first time he's shown off his flight ability to such a large extent. He may have like hopped around before, but in order to fight Ghidorah, he's got to float around for a bit.
Yeah, this Ghidorah is kind of lame. This Ghidorah
Very
doesn't
static.
like to move at all.
I hope that it comes down onto the ground and fights. I mean, in the end bumper and the beginning, like spoilers for the episode, we saw him on the ground fighting, so that should happen. I don't know what's happening, that they've color graded everything on the film. Like
it's golden hour, so something like flew and the smoke mist went in front of the sun and it cast everything in this orange glow.
I wonder if it like superpowers Ghidorah. We have to like make up parts to the plot because we don't know what's going on.
It's superpowered Ghidorah, even though he's just using the same effects we've seen.
Honestly, I'm really surprised that, again, we'll see how they end up. Oh wow, very quickly Zone Fighter's ability to stay giant is depleted.
Well, probably because of the flying.
Because of the sun.
Oh.
He just looked up to the sun. So they're blocking Zone Fighter's ability to stay giant. Very tense moment.
Oh man. What is he gonna do, Drew? That is an ugly face. Yeah.
It's not. Ghidorah's faces are not as bad as in Gigan. Something about the hair, it just looked like really dirty, like moss that was falling off of his head. Looked bad in Gigan. But what was nice about the Gigan appearance of Ghidorah is they used scenes from so many other Ghidorah films, so we didn't have to see very much of that Ghidorah. Like when he picks up Anguirus.
Right.
That was from Destroy All Monsters. So we got to see many different Ghidorahs, many of which look better than the Gigan one. This one, not the Gigan one.
I didn't know. I don't know if I've ever seen Ghidorah use this.
Oh yeah, using just his wings.
Yeah, he's using wings to like do a high-powered wind attack.
Yeah, kind of blow away Ultraman, but he's on the ground doing it. In Ghidorah's very first appearance, and I cite the sequence so often because we all found it so powerful. Ghidorah's entry into the series in the film Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, when he just decimates, I'm assuming Tokyo, some Japanese city. Mm-hmm. He's flying through the air, and both his wind, like that he's blowing, and the like three beams from all three mouths just decimate everything.
You're totally right, yeah.
But I don't think that we've seen him just stand there and blow away and like an enemy. He may have in which one? No, that was Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster when he fought Mothra in larva form and Rodan. He may have, but I don't really remember it. Okay, so it appears that the role of the other members of the Zone family is that they are in an underground base, and they're able to, I think I remember reading into this, they're able to shoot lightning from, like, clouds?
What?
Yeah, so they can help Zone Fighter.
Wow.
Oh,
he's
so it
solar
really
powered.
Was. Yes, it really was, but his batteries can still run dry. It was, everything was color graded to gold, and it was like blocking the sun's rays, and so Zone Fighter's his fighting stamina was depleted, and now the sun has been returned to normal by the Zone family.
Now he's kicking the crap out of Ghidorah.
As they're down in their underground lab, the family was able to manipulate the weather to a degree that they cleared away the sun, and Ghidorah flies away.
Goodbye, Ghidorah. And one of the old guys in the base is breathing really heavily, as if turning that switch was just like too much work.
Yeah, this is a little strange. They definitely used a lot of movie sweat on him. Spray bottle.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. I just have no idea. He may be
dying.
Is he dying all of a sudden?
We have to simultaneously describe
some
this.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
Yeah.
If the Sakamori family's father goes crazy, will you still call him Zone Fighter Man?
It's beautiful. You should make that into a real song.
We'll cut together a version of Kryptonite by Three Doors Down, set to Zone Fighter. No, I don't quite.
He wrote that song when he was like 15.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's a good song to write at 15.
Yeah, especially if he wrote like all the guitar parts and everything.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was like my favorite song in elementary school. He's doing something to infuse a gem.
Yeah.
And Zone Fighter has like something he just infused onto his antenna.
It's battery. Or something. I have no idea.
But he still isn't going to kill Ghidorah. Ghidorah will escape.
That's so they can use the suit again.
Well, it's just like...
They don't want to ruin their Ghidorah suit.
No, yeah. I think the Toho just... They've invested too much in Ghidorah. He can't be taken out by anything. Like, he's the main enemy in the Toho monsterverse. Whether it's Godzilla
so they just flew into space. So Zone Fighter's flying into space
now.
And Ghidorah is chasing after him into space. And there's some narration going on.
Is this a two-parter?
Yeah, it looks like it's a two-parter.
Okay, so
it must be a to be continued.
It's kind of interesting that at the end of every single episode, there's a copyright logo that says copyright Godzilla, Gigan, Ghidorah, Toho, blah blah blah.
In English,
yeah.
What the crap?
Yeah, right. Seriously, the distributors of this, why did you not provide subtitles?
All right, that was our first disc for the first 5 episodes.
We're gonna go eat some lunch.
Yeah, something like that. Join us next time, ladies and gentlemen.
Which will happen for you in a moment.
You got to keep it what?
G.